travelers, and luxury destination adventurers. It's now time to enjoy the journey on Enjoy the Journey with David Hartman and guests. And now, here's David Hartman.
In the Keys.
Greetings from paradise. Welcome to the Enjoy the Journey luxury travel show from the beautiful Florida Keys. A special welcome to our RadioA1A and Cruising Country listeners and A1A Media Network affiliates, podcast partners, and live streaming viewers around the world. I am your host, David Hartman, owner of Fantastic Endeavors Travel Agency. And I'm the travel agent that always asks two questions. What is your bucket list trip? And where do you wish you were right now? I bet you wish you were right here with me in my beautiful backyard. I'm actually at my home office today. After traveling around the world and off this world, I'm now just back at home doing the show. As always, please like this video, please share it, and follow our social media, like all our pages, my Fantastic Endeavors, Radio A1A, Cruising Country Radio, A1A Media Network, and also subscribe to the A1A Media Network YouTube channel. This show is edited and also put up there on Mondays and available. And as always, when you're watching the show, go back and record from the beginning. The recording's available right after the show ends. And thank you for joining me today. As always, we'd like to thank our sponsors. Chip Bell, author of the Jake Sullivan series, chipbellauthor.com. Jim LaPointe, talk to Jim for your best mortgage rates in the Keys. And check out the new music store on RadioA1A.com. And Atlas Ocean Voyages, Lux Expeditions, they're launching in July 2021. They've been on the show 4 times, 4 different guests. We've had a great time with them, and they are a phenomenal new cruise line launching next year. And stay tuned to hear about my cruise at the end, the Solar Antarctic cruise to Antarctica next year. Health Genie, Dale Clemens, Health Genie System Checker. Michael Marinelli, the Real Estate Conch. Check him out, realestateconch.com, and Vic Figueroa, Keys Smartphone Repair. And before, a word from our sponsors, stay tuned. We got some trivia going on. I'm giving away a gift certificate for the Fish House. Today's theme is all about travel and travel updates. I'm just myself today, no guest. And I'm going to talk about where it's safe to travel now and in the future. And these are things that you're going to want to know because it's changing on a daily basis. But I'm here to help you out. So stay tuned. We will be right back. Atlas Ocean Voyages offers smaller ships designed for luxe expeditions that extend the reach of adventure travel by sea, with their first ship launching in July 2021. Venture to small villages and remote locations, from the desert city of Petra to the frozen tundra of Antarctica. To experience Atlas Ocean Voyages, call David Hartman, 305-453-9208, Dave at bucketwishtrip.com.
You know, they may be called smartphones, but they are handled by regular folks like you and me. And we break things. Well, no more freaking out about breaking your smartphone because Key's Smartphone Repair is here. Just click or call keysmartphonerepair.com. That's keysmartphonerepair.com. keysmartphonerepair.com. It's fast, professional smartphone and tablet repair located in Tavernier, mile marker 90, keysmartphonerepair.com. Click it now and save.
The Health Genie System Checker answers 3 important questions when you are feeling ill. What is wrong with me? How ill am I? and where can I receive care? System Checker puts the information and answers at your fingertips with the most advanced triage and healthcare technologies available. Engage on a personal level in your own words to describe your symptoms with no smart trees or drop-down menus that force self-diagnosis. Health Genie System Checker provides an avenue to early healthcare engagement. Hello, David Hartman with Fantastic Endeavors. Fantastic Endeavors is a full-service travel agency based in Key Largo, Florida, specializing in custom individual and group travel. Our luxury travel advisors inspire people to answer two questions. What is your bucket list trip? And where do you wish you were right now? Fantastic Endeavors will personally tailor your journey to your needs. We build extraordinary, enriching experiences curated just for you. Call us today at 305-453-9208 or email at dave@bucketwishtrip.com. Enjoy the journey. Welcome back. We are live from Key Largo, Florida. We are at Club Dave, my home studio. Thank you for joining me today. It's a more different show, more low key. I am now back on planet after being off planet in a galaxy far, far away. Please check out the show from last week on my Facebook feed, and also all my shows are on my Fantastic Endeavors YouTube page and A1A Media Network, and check out the September 20th show. It's a very special show from a galaxy far, far away, especially for those you Star Wars and Disney fans out there. With the show today, I'll have more time to answer questions. So any question you have about travel, about where you want to go. I've been working with clients to reschedule bookings, to work on new bookings since this whole pandemic started. And I'm a guru now of where's to go, where's not to go. I'm going to cover a few destinations here, but please feel free to ask me a destination in the chat. And thank you all for joining. And I will take more time to thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being here right now. And so today is going to be a travel update show. Where is it safe to travel now? And where should I think about next year? And I'll make some clear differentiations to that. So today is your day to ask the expert, me, as I'm enjoying my backyard. Just another day from Dave's backyard. I was going to do my show from my kayak today, but logistically it wasn't going to work out. So just sit back for the next hour and enjoy. And we have a $25 gift card for Fish House Encore. And I got a trivia question in mind when I cover a certain destination. And the first one to get in the chat, and I'm watching the chat, will win this gift card. And I'll get it to you somehow, or I'll leave it at the Fish House for you. Fish House Encore in Key Largo is a seafood restaurant. The owner, CJ, is a client of mine, and so is her partner, Doug. And it's right around the corner from my house on Route 1. It's an awesome place to eat. So you want to travel. Where do you want to go now? Obviously, domestic is your best bet. Domestic travel is the way to go right now. But keep in mind, domestically, it's still a bit of a challenge. So let me get my feed going here again. I went to Texas a week and a half ago for a business trip because I have some corporate clients to touch base with them and talk about their future planning. And I was fine. No travel restrictions in Texas. No travel restrictions in Florida. Had to wear a mask. I mean, mask, if you're against them, just get over it, because masks are required wherever you go. And they're proven to be safe. I know there's a lot of illogical comments out there, but listen, in Asian countries, every time someone's sick, they wear a mask, and it works pretty well for them. So with the politics aside, the planes require a mask, and they're very strict about it. Besides that, I had no restrictions. I really had no restrictions whatsoever. A guy I met from Massachusetts, however, where COVID hit a lot harder earlier, much different. He had to submit, before he left Texas, submit an online application to say, I'm going to self-quarantine, or I'm going to get a negative test, or get a test and hopefully it's negative. By the way, I just had a COVID test on Monday when I was up in the galaxy far, far away, before I transported there. It was so easy. I mean, it's a simple nasal swab. I know there's some bad things in the press about them. It's nothing to be afraid of. And I was negative, by the way. Congratulations. So every state in the country is a little different right now. You have to be aware of that. I don't know every single state, but it's pretty easy to Google online, and it's changing every day because everyone's just trying to be safe and they're protecting their own. Do I agree with all of it? No, some of it's a little bit too crazy, but like Florida, we just dropped all of our restrictions. By the way, Florida is a great place to travel right now. We have no travel restrictions, and recently we opened up our bars, and now we dropped all of our restrictions in our restaurants on the state level. On the county level, counties can still have 50%, and I believe Monroe County is still at 50% capacity, but that may change. But at least the local pressure from businesses can now make the counties relax that restriction. As always, be safe, social distance. We actually have a music festival coming up here next month in 2 weeks. Not sure how they're going to pull that off, but more power to them. Thank you guys all for joining and watching. This is my travel industry update. I'm all alone today, no guests. I'm actually all alone producing the show. Hey, here I'm doing this and doing the ads myself. First time doing that, by the way. So it's time to ask questions in the chat and tell me, where do you want to go and where do you think? Perfect intro, Dave. Thanks. Welcome back from space. I traveled far and away, but I'm back. And today's more about interaction with the people. I do got some themes to cover and some updates to cover, and I will take a break halfway through. But I want to interact with everyone here on Facebook. That's why I do a Sunday afternoon show, to interact with you, because I want to hear where you're thinking of going. Are you afraid to travel? And I'll clarify where it's safe and where it's safe not to go. So right now I'm talking about domestic travel. And as always, please like this and share it. And thank you all on the RadioA1A and Cruising Country simulcast today. As always, visually, this is probably our least visual show, so just listen along and enjoy. And if you have questions, feel free to hit me up in my Facebook chat later or on the YouTube channel chat, and I'll answer those questions. I'm always answering questions afterwards, so please, if you're watching the show on recording, feel free to keep popping the questions. I'm pretty well versed. I read a lot of industry news and travel news every single day. It's part of what I do with my profession. I do own a travel agency, as you know. That's why I do this show. Domestic is a great way to go right now, to a point. Again, there are restrictions. Alaska's a great place to go, although the season's now over for summer season. It's getting colder and the longer days are over. But Alaska is the first one to require a self-quarantine or a test. But at least states are now backing off the self-quarantine only. That's how it was for a while, which I never agreed with, but our testing wasn't up to par. Unfortunately, we weren't as organized as many other countries, getting our testing up to speed quickly on a uniform basis. But now it's getting to a point where tests are available readily when you go places. So may not get them in the time you want them, so always plan ahead and always schedule your testing. Alaska's great. Right now, domestically, Florida's fantastic. Walt Disney World area, Central Florida, theme parks are open. And South Florida, the Keys are open for business. I can't say enough. I started my outdoor shows June 1st, and the Keys are open for business. We never closed down. We did close the bars only for a little while, and even the Caribbean Club reopened more recently than the state said no. And right now, with the state lifting all restrictions, we are open for business, and it's a drive-to destination. The airports are really taking people. So keep that in mind, that the Keys are open for business, and so is Florida, and so are numerous other states. And where you travel from and where you return to is very important on what restrictions are in place. I don't know of too many states doing a self-quarantine only. Usually it's self-quarantine or take a negative test. And again, the test, I did mine, actually my friend scheduled it, a self-test. And with them, hey, you want a free test? I said, sure, I didn't have a reason for one. And I did the nasal swab and got it in 2 days, and they sent it to you via email. It was very easy. So you can travel. And you can drive and travel, and when you drive, there's no restrictions. When you fly, yeah, they have you. They kind of have your record of you. When you drive, they don't have a record of you, so keep that in mind. The Keys is a great drive-to destination. So is Florida. Thanks for joining, guys. We're doing a travel industry update, answering your questions today, and I'm giving away a Fish House gift certificate here on the Enjoy the Journey Luxury Travel Show. My host David Hartman here, and stay tuned. I want to talk about Hawaii pretty soon. We're going to ask that trivia question, so it's going to be a little bit challenging. And again, I traveled recently to Texas, no issues there. I traveled in June, it was fine, no restrictions. Then everything, Texas and Florida blew up, and it was more restrictions. People were wearing more masks, but I travel no problem. The airports are getting busier. There are less flights flying. The airports are absolutely dead in June, but Miami Airport, Austin Airport were fine. And my guy who flew in from Boston was fine. He just had to do his kind of self-diagnosis when he got home. Other places domestically, more of a challenge. The state of Hawaii, the Hawaiian Islands, how I love Hawaii. I traveled there twice the past 2 years. I'm a certified Hawaiian Island specialist. And Hawaii's been a little bit difficult. Some areas of states have gone for the mitigation strategy. Others have gone for the elimination strategy. The Keys went for elimination. Shut down totally, shut your economy, shut off your lifeblood tourist for almost 3 months. And pray it all goes away and never comes back. That just, unfortunately, is not going to work in a tourist destination. Hawaii's holding tough to elimination strategy. Other places want mitigation, where you kind of shut down certain things and ideally limit the spread and flatten the curve as far as don't overwhelm the health industry, which we haven't done in Florida even with our rising cases this summer. Hawaii's different. They're sticking to their guns to elimination. They don't want tourists. They don't want people traveling between islands. But as of October 15th, Hawaiian Islands is now going to a more relaxed strategy, a self-quarantine exception if you have a negative test 72 hours before arrival, or take a self-test when you arrive and wait for the results. That's the first time they've allowed that. I mean, they've done that internally. They've actually even shut off inter-island travel. So the Hawaii, who's a major tourist destination that I love dearly, I've been to every major island, is they must be just hurting right now. And I can't wait to go back there. So Hawaii will be open for business mid-October. There are flights scheduled. Southwest has some amazing deals. They started flying there last year. It was the biggest news when I visited last year. So keep that in mind. My trivia question for all those you tuning in, thank you all for being here. I'm going to give a shout out in a minute. And Sue Tempe says, U.S. travel, just covered it, Sue. We're on the recording. I can't cover every state, but I cover the major destinations. Obviously Florida's great. Alaska with a negative test. Hawaii by mid-October negative test. You can't go there now. Other states depends on their current restrictions. Northeast is getting easier, even though it's very tough to get to. And most of the Midwest is fine. And California has been a little bit tricky too, because they're holding fast on their policies. But with a negative test, you can go to California. I have friends fly to California, no problem. So trivia question for a $25 gift card to the Fish House Encore, right here in my hand, which I can either leave at the restaurant and send to you or meet you when you go there. Please, in the chat, list all 8 Hawaiian islands, the major islands. Now, only 6 are really open to tourists, but there are 2 others that have Hawaiian names that are right there in the chain that you can see from other islands. But there are 8 Hawaiian islands. I prefer the correct spell, the appropriate spacing and the appropriate, I forget the word, the apostrophes in there. And I can name them all to you. I will name to you later, properly pronounced, the best I can. But definitely, for a $25 gift card, I'm watching the chat. First one is they say all 8 Hawaiian islands for the Fish House Encore right here in Key Largo, one of the best seafood restaurants in town. And CJ and Doug, they're clients of mine, friends of mine, and I've actually done my show from there in mid-June. Check out that episode. I'm going to give some shout outs real quick as I wait for some trivia answers, going back to the beginning. Hey, Mom, what's up? Christina, sorry I couldn't make brunch today. I was preparing for the show. Hey, Cousin Timmer, gonna see you guys soon at Disney. Harry T's watching the board. Love Harry T. Hey, Janice, thanks for being on every show. Bonnie Barnes, hello from Delaware. Marlene, what's going on? Dawn, what's up? Yes, actually, Sue Tempe. Sue Mooney, Sue is now an agent of mine, a client of mine from Key Largo, now lives in Maine, and she's talked about Amtrak vacations being a great option for domestic travel. I totally agree. Totally self-contained, you're in your own area, and all these suppliers are doing a great job. I'll talk about cruising in a second. That's the big white elephant in the room. That's my next update after Mexico and Canada. Right now I'm talking about Hawaii. Hey, Don, thanks for being here. Hey, Charlie, thanks for being here. I'm giving some shout outs and seeing for questions and comments, and then I'm looking for a trivia question. The first person in the chat I see to name all 8 Hawaiian islands. I'm watching, the David W. Hartman chat right now I'm watching. And I'll give you this gift card. I'll get it to you. I'll message you privately on Facebook and find a way to send it to you, or I'll have CJ, the owner, leave you the credit at the restaurant. Won't be a problem. Hawaii's open for business. Now, how about other neighbors? How about Canada? Canada's going more for elimination strategy too. They're very strict about outsiders. Inter-province travel in Canada is a problem. I know the hockey playoffs are in there. Tampa Bay lost last night. They're going to play Monday night for the Cup. And they're doing a bubble strategy. But I had a friend who's dating a guy who's a loved one passed away, and he's Canadian. He couldn't get back in the country for weeks. They had to camp out in the state of Washington to get in there. Hey, Craig, thanks for being here. Craig, what's up, buddy? When you come down diving? So Canada's a tough one. They have 175,000 cases total, and we have over 200,000 deaths total. So obviously what they're doing is working for them. And, as far as their economy, I don't know. I'm not following that closely. I'm not trying to do an ethical argument here, but Canada travel is pretty much off limits right now. And I cannot tell you when it's going to reopen. They have not given any indication. Inter-province Canada travel is getting better from what I've heard from locals I know up there and clients up there. Hey, Edward, Randall, thanks for being here. As always, guys, like this, share it. I'm giving you a travel update. I did domestic. I covered Hawaii, which is opening mid-October with a negative COVID test or a self-quarantine. And then I'm now covering Mexico and Canada. Canada, just rule out Canada for now. 2021 possibility. I am selling a lot of Alaskan cruises 2021, which involve Canada, so we're believing that it'll be fine then. And just to back up, what's going to solve this problem is not the vaccine. The vaccines take time. The record vaccine development, it happened in the 60s, was for the mumps. It took 6 years or 4 years. Now, technology is better and more people are working on it. But the key is going to be the quick test, the 15-minute test, readily available and consistent. And cruise lines and other airlines could just do the test when you arrive, have you wait, and then don't allow you to board if there's an issue, or have you take a deeper test, or have you self-quarantine until a deeper analysis is done. That's the key to travel. So those of you holding out for a vaccine, I wouldn't hold your breath. Vaccines, some are on phase 3, but there's like 4 phases, and you read about it. Just Google a good medical journal, not a news station, about vaccine development. I had a neighbor here rented next to me. He's in vaccine development. It takes a long time because they have to go through a number of different types of people, and they have to have a lot of trials testing. Those in the medical field talks about trials. But the key is the quick tests, and the quick tests are available, and it's a matter of getting enough in production and getting them in consistently available to people. Still waiting for the answer to the trivia question about the 8 Hawaiian islands. You're gonna have to Google a couple of them, but there are 8. There are 8 in a map, and there are 6 that are readily available to tourists. One of them, Molokai, is a little suspect of tourists. I've been to all of them that you could go to a tourist. Molokai, I was across the waterway from Lanai, but it was beautiful. I still want to go there, and I do want to get to the other 2, which need special permission. Hint, 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 hint. Now, Mexico, moving on to what's close by to the U.S. for travel. Domestic travel open now, just beware of state restrictions. Florida's open, California's tough, Northeast is getting better, Texas is no restrictions there. Driving vacations are fine. Amtrak Vacations is a great product that's available for domestic travel. Canada's ruled out, Hawaii mid-October. Good question. Has Mexico ever closed tourism to U.S. travelers? I'm not talking about the border, not the ground border. Has Mexico ever closed? Put that in the chat. I'll give you a minute. The answer is no. I had travel agent friends of mine fly down every month, late March, April, May, June, because they got freebie stays or discount stays. And it was easy to get down there because Mexico never closed the U.S. travelers via air. The border, that's a big political thing going on there. I don't know what's going on there. Driving was easier, but Mexico never closed the air. I had a group from a member of Ocean Reef Club. It was a bachelorette party of 13 wonderful ladies. Went down in early August and had a wonderful time. Now, the destinations weren't open yet readily. Los Cabos was closed, but Cancun was always open. Cozumel was a little bit kind of open and closed at times. Not every resort was open, but Mexico never closed to travelers, and there are flights available. Mexico is a great place to travel. My clients had a great time. They had some small logistical issues. Some of them didn't remember hold on to their paperwork, their visas, and the flights kept changing because the destination just reopened late June. But now Mexico has been reopened, resorts will be open. Contact me about Mexico. I sell a lot of Mexico. I do groups, I've done destination weddings, destination conventions there, and then my clients, I've been to the major resorts in Mexico, in Cancun and Cozumel and Los Cabos. I recommend all those destinations highly. They're very safe. You know, some you have to stay in the resort, but they're very safe and clean. So Mexico is a great destination for travel right now. So that's wrapping up North American travel. I'm going to move on to a cruise industry update, but please put in the chat a question, like this video and share it. Please tell, hey, watch Dave today and ask a question about travel. Don't believe everything you read in the news. And as I talk about cruises, that'll be very clear. And be very clear that talk to professional information or get credible resource information when researching a travel destination. All right, I'm still waiting for the answer. Who wants the gift card? I'm looking for it right here. The 8 Hawaiian Islands. Yeah, you may have to Google them. Come on, Jan Orstein. She gets all my trivia questions because she watches every show. There's benefits to watching my show. Again, thank you for joining me on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Welcome to my backyard. This is actually the porch off my home office. If you've been to my house, Beautiful view of John Pennekamp Park Mangroves behind me. It's getting a little darker out, so I'm getting a little darker, but kind of show you where we're at right here. Right behind me here is where I go kayaking. There's a cut right over here you can't quite see. And this is mangroves for about a mile, and then there's the Straits of Florida, the ocean and our reefs. So I can kayak to to outside these mangroves in about an hour. Be in the trails, I can be in the trails in 5 minutes, but to get out of the mangroves and get to the open ocean is about an hour, and I love it. So let's switch gears and talk about the cruise industry, trying to stay on time here. I do have a schedule I gave myself, and I will take a break at 2:30 and get a quick water break. The cruise industry has been difficult. A lot of it's political because of all the, to me, overhyped news when COVID first hit in March. They really got a bad rap. The virus didn't start on cruise ships. The virus didn't come from cruise ships. The first case in U.S. came directly from Wuhan in January. It's proven. The first death came from off a plane. Planes spread this virus around the world, as they do all viruses. And not to say air travel is bad. It's just that's how it goes. And Wuhan's a major air hub, and that's how it spread so quickly. And I actually had a friend of mine's daughter fly through Wuhan in mid-November on a layover. I always teach her saying that she started the COVID outbreak. She doesn't like that. Cruising's fine. We just can't cruise right now because the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, is being overly political about giving our cruise lines any guidelines to get going again. Every other major travel industry is up and, as far as supplier, is up and moving. Trains are moving. Planes are going pretty readily now. Cruises are now going in Europe. They've all have enhanced protocols. I've cruised, 3-4 times a year. It's very safe. You get just as sick in a hotel as you were on a cruise ship. Now, obviously, they're going to go with reduced capacity, more health protocols, probably have more family-style serving than the actual buffet, and too bad I love the buffets. Cruising will return, but as far as right now, I don't know if you'll see any cruises this year. That I cannot guarantee. I guarantee you will see numerous cruises in 2021. To what capacity, we'll see. I think by about March, we'll get ramped up. Now, there's a lot of news out there. The cruise lines are liquidating, selling all their ships. Not true. The cruise lines are selling their older ships they should have sold a long time ago, and they were holding on to old assets and trying to milk them for whatever they were worth, and they weren't worth that much, honestly, in my opinion. I sailed on them and compared the new beautiful mega ships or the new streamlined ships. It was a light and day comparison, so it was almost embarrassing. But the price point was attractive, and they kept selling out, so they kept them. Now, there may be some changes, some small lines I've always feared may go out of business. A small cruise line I never sold but did like called Blount Cruise Ships. I believe they chartered their boats, they were leasing them, so they had no assets. They went out of business, but very easy for them because they didn't have any hardware to sell. I think you'll see some restructuring. I think you'll see some combination of the cruises, of the small lines, and you may see some of them joining parent companies, but cruising will come back. It's a great way to travel. I love cruise travel. I was with Cruise Planners for many years as a franchise. I'm now independent as Fantastic Endeavors, and cruising is a big portion of my business. It's been a tough year selling cruises because we've had a lot of rescheduling, a lot of cancellations. But I'll tell you, of all the suppliers, the cruise lines have been the best about protecting commissions and about rescheduling and giving my clients refunds and credits because they are profitable companies. They run an efficient business model, unlike the air travel industry, who are horrifically going to go under unless someone bails them out in the next year or two. They say business travel won't return for 2 years, and that's a side tangent, but cruising is a great way to travel. We'll come back. If you're in fear of cruising, don't worry about it. Go when you're comfortable. But please, please, please keep cruising in mind. Right now, CDC has shut down cruises till end of September without an extension of their shutdown. How they've been in charge of regulating cruises, I have no idea. I know there's some protocols. The Coast Guard regulates cruises. How now they're in charge of what they do is ridiculous. I know there's protocols in place. And by the way, the only reason you hear about cruising more sicknesses than hotels is because of Coast Guard regulations, not CDC regulations. They have to report them. If hotels had to report them, they'd be in the news every single day with sicknesses and outbreaks. So I don't want to hear it when it comes to cruises having a bad rap. I'm just done with the bad news, honestly, as you can tell in my voice. Cruising is a great way to travel. It's always been highly regulated, efficiently, and healthy. I travel around the world in all sorts of resorts, and believe me, you are much better taken care of on a cruise ship. It's an easier way to travel. It's much more inclusive. It's easier logistically. And they have health number one because of all the regulations. And they have even more regulations coming. CDC said no cruising through the 30th, no sail order. They have to abide by that. Why, I have no idea. Mid-October, most cruises have said no sail, but I've not seen anyone say they're sailing. And Disney Cruise Line has put off their cruises till mid-December, so I think most will follow suit. CLIA, our the Cruise Line International Association, which I belong to and I have my credentials through, and I'm a member, and so is my agency. They've set protocols. They expect cruising to start by the end of the year. So I believe the CDC is finally giving them interaction. Our issue with CDC is not just that they regulate it with a fiat, and I know full well why cruises aren't allowed. It's an election year, put it that way. No one wants any bad press about an outbreak on cruises. The CDC has not been involved in any discussion with the industry leaders in cruise lines. Not one. And yet they're making flippant comments in the press, so it's totally unfair. Anyways, cruising is a great way to travel. The CDC will have to come around eventually, or somehow they'll disband them, I don't know, and cruising will go again. Thankfully, these are big, profitable companies that have a lot of hardware and valuable assets, and they've really financed their way to get through at least, into next year. I believe it'll be safe to cruise next year. If you want to do a Christmas cruise, I have some clients booked for Christmas. I believe those will be safe to go. Alaska will come back. Hawaii will come back next year. The major destinations, cruising will start slow. It'll be a ramp up. I'm sure you saw my Disney updates. Disney is ramping things up slowly. Hotels, locations are ramping up slowly. Cruising will start where short cruise the Bahamas, we cruise Caribbeans, and then explore the destinations. As far as Europe goes, that's a good question. I have friends booked in Europe, the cruises aren't canceled. Australia, booked there end of the year, not canceled. Those destinations, Europe's already cruising. Will they allow Americans to come? That's a different story. Ideally, they will by the way, you're going to have to get tested. To travel internationally, you're going to have to show a test. So if you like to travel, you better get over your hang-up about testing now. It's very easy. It's all self-swab, and testing's now more available than it ever was, and it should have been available better sooner. So Europe may go end of this year, believe it or not, because they're already cruising in Europe. It's just a matter of them allowing American tourists in and us allowing people to go to Europe back. And I believe that's now, after the election is going to be fine, because it's a very political time right now. Australia is interesting. They've only shut down cruises through the end of the year. So I have a cruise in early November for a client that has not been canceled. We're debating, should we collect final payments? Should we not? We don't know. So we shall see. That's the update on cruising. Someone has guessed, Janice, who deserves a prize for being on every show. I want to catch up in the chat for a second. Please ask any questions about domestic, international. I covered Mexico. I covered Canada. I just covered the cruise industry. As far as updates, by the way, per cruise line, they're all pretty much the same. Mid-October, no sailing scheduled, except Disney has now gone out to mid-December. And then they're all scheduled, they're all booking like crazy for next year. I'm very busy booked for next year for cruises. So next year looks great for cruising. I wouldn't book a cruise anything before mid-December. That's my advice there. So Janice Spivak, who's on every show, we love Janice. The 8 Hawaiian Islands are, this looks pretty good. Hawaii, the Big Island, Maui, Kaho'olawe, Molokai, Lanai, Oahu, Kauai, and Niihau. Oh my God. And Janice, I said them correctly. Congratulations, Janice Spivak. Very appreciate someone who watches every show chiming in and getting the trivia questions. Janice, I'll message you independently. We are friends on Facebook. And get you this gift card from Fish House Encore. Guys, please, this is your time to ask me questions. I'm not busy with a guest today. I'm more involved in the chat. I do have a list of things to update. I will cover a bit more of Europe after the break, and a bit more of Disney parks, since I was just in a galaxy far, far away and at Walt Disney World recently for a special trip. And I want to cover what they're doing worldwide, because they've really set a model to reopen. And I also cover Orlando theme parks and what else in Florida. And I will also end talking about my phenomenal Antarctic total solar eclipse cruise end of next year, which is definitely going on, and want you to be on it because certain promotions end of September. So I will cover that at the end. So stay tuned for the rest of the show. And Janice, I'll message you after. But Janice, if you're listening, you can still guess. But Janice nailed it. Proper spelling and everything. You missed a few apostrophes, not going to hold it against you. But there's 8 Hawaiian Islands. 6 are more tourist destinations. 2 are pretty much off limits. One Kaho'olawe had a lot of bombing practice, and it broke their water cap. They have no water, and there's a lot of danger on board. It's also a very sacred island. That's the one you can see from Maui and Lanai. And then Niihau is a very remote private island off of Kauai, and that one is owned by the Robinson family. It has been for years, and it's really private to that family, and very few visitors are allowed on board. You have to date one of the royal family, the Robinsons, to get there and check it out. Gonna take a quick break, guys, because I'm working alone today. I need to take a break and get my systems in order. Harry, you're gonna love this. I'm actually doing the ads. And stay tuned through the break, because I'm gonna talk more about Disney, talk more about Europe, and talk more about my cruise going next year with a total solar eclipse. Stay tuned, guys, and we'll see you after the break. Atlas Ocean Voyages offers smaller ships designed for luxe expeditions that extend the reach of adventure travel by sea, with their first ship launching in July 2021. Venture to small villages and remote locations, from the desert city of Petra to the frozen tundra of Antarctica. To experience Atlas Ocean Voyages, call David Hartman, 305-453-9208, dave@bucketwishtrip.com.
You know, they may be called smartphones, but they are handled by regular folks like you and me. And we break things. Well, no more freaking out about breaking your smartphone, because Key Smartphone Repair is here. Just click or call keysmartphonerepair.com. That's keysmartphonerepair.com. keysmartphonerepair.com. It's fast, professional smartphone and tablet repair, located in Tavernier, mile marker 90. keysmartphonerepair.com. Click it now and save.
The Health Genie System Checker answers 3 important questions when you are feeling ill. What is wrong with me? How ill am I? And where can I receive care? System Checker puts the information and answers at your fingertips with the most advanced triage and healthcare technologies available. Engage on a personal level in your own words to describe your symptoms, with no smart trees or drop-down menus that force self-diagnosis. Health Genie System Checker provides an avenue to early healthcare engagement. Hello, David Hartman with Fantastic Endeavors. Fantastic Endeavors is a full-service travel agency based in Key Largo, Florida, specializing in custom individual and group travel. Our luxury travel advisors inspire people to answer 2 questions. What is your bucket list trip? And where do you wish you were right now? Fantastic Endeavors will personally tailor your journey to your needs. We build extraordinary, enriching experiences curated just for you. Call us today at 305-453-9208 or email at dave@bucketwishtrip.com. Enjoy the journey. We are back live. Thank you for joining us for the second half of the Enjoy the Journey Luxury Travel Show here live on Radio A1A and Cruising Country Radio. Thank you for being here. Also, we're live on Facebook Live. We appreciate all of our listeners today on Cruising Country Radio and Radio A1A, and all the podcast partners who listen to us on podcasts, and follow all of our social media, like our Fantastic Endeavors, Radio A1A, Cruising Country Radio, A1A Media Network, the umbrella brand, and on my Dave's Disney page, and even have a Dave's Hawaii page you can like and follow. And we have different channels for different interests, obviously. And subscribe to the A1A Media Network YouTube channel, where this show goes up on every Monday for recording. If you join this feed late, you can rewind it now or wait for the recording. It always shows on Facebook afterwards. And please watch the whole thing from the beginning, because we had some great coverage today of where to travel now and where to travel in the future. I covered more domestic North American travel. I'll cover more Europe going next. So stay tuned for the rest of the show and get more into, like I said, Europe. Cover my Atlas Ocean Voyages cruise, my sponsorship, the people that sponsor my show. And again, especially I'm following the chat on Facebook. Thank you all for being here. And this is your day. This is my travel industry update. I'm running the show all by myself today, no producer, no guest. And I decided to do a show here from my back porch. And by the way, when I started the show, it was a lot lighter, and now I'm a little dark. That's fine. I want to give you a taste of another day in my backyard, another Sunday in my backyard here in Key Largo. And I want to kind of invite you to my backyard and just hear about travel, because that's what I do. And I'm probably more well-versed than most because I read so much. I'm a really avid reader. And because of my business, I have bookings all over the world. I have to be up on every different destination. So please, in the chat, ask about destination, where you're thinking of traveling. As always, contact me, 305-453-9208, dave@bucketwishtrip.com, or message me here on Facebook if you're interested in getting professional assistance with travel, because that's what I do. So, what else is going around in the world? First, I want to give some more shout-outs. Now we're back from break. As always, thank you for our sponsors and the ads there. Please support our local sponsors. I didn't mention them at the beginning, and you'll see some ads at the end of the show too for them. And without social media and our sponsors, this does not happen. So appreciate you guys following, and obviously we appreciate our sponsors, and the Keys is open for business. So first off, Ed Randall, thank you for being here. Craig already mentioned. Bruce Augustin, hey man, thanks for being here. Frank Vicente, thank you for being here. Christine, Cafe Huron, Janice, you won. Lisa Hagen, how you doing? Hey Brenda Kiffmeyer, thanks for being here. Appreciate you being on. If you guys are watching, please put in the chat a question about travel, like where is it safe? You hear a lot of news, and I guarantee you maybe about 20% of it is credible. And travel is open. I've had people travel. I've had people travel to South Carolina. I've had bookings at Disney. I've been to Disney 4 times, if you've been noticing the feeds. And I had clients go to Mexico. Mexico has never closed to travel. Hawaii's tough. Canada's tough. Domestic travel is open. And like I said, I had clients. I've been to Texas, both June, when things were newer and seemed more stricter, but then we had hot spots in Texas and Florida. So it was actually more stricter when I went in 2 weeks ago. And believe it or not, it was actually also no restrictions in either state. I mean, it's amazing. Masks are required, tests are going to be required. International travel is going to be tricky to navigate, but it will still be available. And for international, I recommend end of the year of 2021. Cruise travel, end of the year of 2021. Domestic travel now, Hawaii, mid-October, you can start going out there. Mexico is readily available, and I'm here to help book. It's a great destination. And all the clients I've sent there, they've had a wonderful time, and the resorts are open. Hey, Linda Schwartz, thanks for joining. Hey, man, I haven't talked to you in forever. As always, put the questions in the chat. I'm here to, if I don't mention a destination, I need your help today. I want this to be an interactive show. That's why I run these on Facebook Live, because I get a lot more interactivity than other platforms because of all my followers. And I do want to go into Europe. So Europe's been very interesting because Europe's having outbreaks too. I'm watching the Tour de France, which I love, which goes 3 weeks bike racing throughout France. And they're in a hot spot at each place, and they have fans, but there's all these bubbles going on. And I can't believe they ran the race. I enjoyed watching it, but at some point there was these fans without masks yelling at the bikers. Easily could have got them sick, but France is a problem right now. Other countries in Europe are like blocking French travelers. So the same thing happening here is happening in France. This is a new landscape for all of us. None of us lived through the 1918 Spanish flu, but I heard things were very similar. And by the way, the 3 keys, if you research Spanish flu 1918 to 1920, what were the 3 recommendations? Stay home if you can, distance yourself, and wear a mask. 100 years and not much has changed, by the way, people. That is true. Hey, my mom, that's her friend Linda. Hey, Mom, Linda's here. So it's a bit crazy when it comes to Europe, because there may be a place more open to you as a U.S. traveler than to another country. So country hopping may be limited till next year. I have clients scheduled for Italy in October. They probably could have still traveled, but depending on our rules. It was probably after the election, probably would have been fine. But what's going to happen is we're going to put that off to next April. It's funny because the trip started last April. It's been a common trend with clients. We're now looking at a year after they first were scheduled. So Europe's going to be interesting. Once you get there, moving around is easy. I would just be aware of rules. If you book through me, I'll help you research. If you have any questions, send me in the chat. But there are countries right now you can go to, and there's a whole list of them online that are available. France is a bit of a problem. Italy, actually, we got hit really hard in the north regions, and that was just unfortunate. It hit an area that had not a lot of medical infrastructure and an older population. Italy, by average, is very old. And then the medical workers were overtaxed. And then younger people were spreading it around. They were asymptomatic. And so that was more north. So the rest of Italy is pretty fine right now. And I would wait till about mid-October or so to travel there. But honestly, international, we're looking at next year. Holiday trips are possible, I can help you with. But international, we are looking at next year. I think that's what's going to happen. Cruising next year or maybe holiday. That's just the way it is. Hey, Dawn. Thanks for joining. So, pardon as I hit the mic there. But Europe, right now, there are places to go to in Europe, and you could go around, but there's certain places you can't go to. So Europe's a more difficult one to travel. But right now, I can't tell you 2021 a place where you cannot go. It's still, 4 months away or 3 months away. So everyone's optimistic that this will return. I think, again, as I mentioned earlier in the show, the key is not waiting for a vaccine. That could take a year, 18 months from when this started. So we're looking at next spring, the next summer. Could take 2 years. The key is the quick tests. Once we have the quick test, that'll solve all. You get your major test before you go, do the quick test again in the plane, do the quick test in destination, and then from there you can go about and do your thing. Some certain excursions or things, may require a quick test. That's up to them, and that's up to them to give to you. So whenever you go somewhere, the research is going to be more thorough. That's why I use a thorough travel agent like myself. Why do I do luxury travel? Why do I do a luxury travel show? Because I'm very thorough. I'm very good at selling that travel because I do a lot of research. I read every single day. In my house, you can't walk around without seeing some type of travel trade magazine or some type of magazine involving travel because I'm passionate for it and I want to know what's happening. And it's been very challenging the last 6 months to understand what's happening. But it's getting easier to navigate. But I'm here to help you navigate, so always contact me, a professional. So the key is to know where you can go, what you need to do. And the key thing I haven't mentioned yet, I've said what's open, but what is actually available at that destination. Here's why I like cruise travel. If you're on the cruise ship, it's fun whether or not you go to port, and the ports may be limited. And by the way, when you cruise, the excursions are going to be controlled for a while. You can't navigate on your own. MSC is now cruising, major cruise line from Italy that does sail from here, excuse me, and they had a couple go off on their own from a scheduled excursion, and they wouldn't let them back on the ship. So keep that thought in your mind. That's how cruising is going to go. So there will be excursions on destinations. But at least on a cruise ship, you can still have fun. So pick a destination that you like the resort. The resort has a lot to offer because certain things in that destination may be a problem. That group I mentioned in Mexico, 13 wonderful ladies on a bachelorette trip. They had a blast. They went to Hard Rock, and we actually got rescheduled Hard Rock because the resort I first booked them wasn't open yet, just how it goes, phased reopening. Hard Rock was wonderful to them. They had a great time, but they also got out and about because Los Cabos was already open for a couple months. So I wouldn't go to a destination day one they reopened. Hawaii, mid-October, I'd go to Ailani Resort on Oahu, which is the Disney resort, because I could stay there and not worry about what's open and what's not. And Hawaii is just wonderful to drive. But if you want to do certain things like excursions or group activities, they probably won't be available. So can I travel there? Do I have a way to get there? Air travel, train travel, what have you, cruise travel. And what can I do when I get there? What is limited? These are things you need to think about when planning a trip, probably for the next couple of years. And this is not going away. As September 11th changed air travel for good, this will change how we travel for good, and I think some ways for the better and some ways for worse. Now, I think testing will be a big part of our life for another year until a vaccine is readily available or this thing just goes away. And SARS just went away last time I was out there, so it may just go away. And then additional research, and this is why I do what I do. I research to make your job easy. So giving you a bit of plug about myself. So Europe's a bit difficult, so just keep that in mind. Moving on, which involves Europe, Disney parks. I've been going to Walt Disney World every month since June, and been really admiring their phase reopening. Frustrating at times because no park hopping, no fast passes, but the limited capacity has been wonderful. Not every Disney park is open. Disney Hong Kong opened, then closed. Shanghai Disney is open. Disneyland Paris is open. And then Japan, Tokyo Disney is open. Of all places, the original, the one that started theme parks as we know it, Disneyland is still not open. Governor of California, state of California is taking a much different view, and honestly, a very frustrating view. They remind me of CDC and cruise lines, if you rewind my feed to that comments. They're being a little too bad on theme parks. Theme parks, there's not one case worldwide or outbreak of COVID from the theme park because there's rules in place. You've got to wear a mask. There's social distancing measures. It is safer to go to Disney World than go to my local Publix. And trust me, Publix took down all their safety measures about 2 weeks ago here for no reason. Just took them all down. No more taping, no more one-way lanes, nothing. They wash their carts. Yippee. They should be washed anyways. I love Publix, but please. So the governor of California's got to wake up and smell the coffee like, hey, it's time to return some normalcy, because in Florida it's been since mid-July with no problems whatsoever, and including some unfair bad press to begin with. So Disney parks are not all open worldwide. Hong Kong Disney late September. We're hoping Disneyland in the next 2 weeks. October 15th for Disneyland and the phased reopening, the phased resorts. For example, Walt Disney World. Check out my show last week, My Galaxy Far, Far Away, September 20th. You can find it on my Facebook feed and also on the A1A Radio Network YouTube channel. Check that out. It was a great show. So much fun. Disneyland will reopen and Disney World has been open. Not every resort at Disney is open, nor is everyone scheduled to be open. By November 1st, they expect a few more. But there are some like Port Orleans that are monster resorts on Walt Disney World property. They have no reopening date. Polynesian Village, one of the originals, 1971. I love Polynesian. I like Hawaii, I like Polynesian Resort. They went into a full refurb. Their villa section's open, owned by Vacation Club members. But the main resort said, forget it, our refurb that was going to be phased is going to a full-blown refurb. Instead of over 2 years, it's going to be done all in 8-9 months. That's not open until next summer. That just goes to show you the unknown, that they're not sure when park attendants will return. There's park attendants now, but as far as the big numbers that supported 30,000 on-site hotel rooms. So, phased reopening. Get used to these phased things. I'm going to check in with people in a second, but thank you for joining. Please, I do have about 8 minutes left, and I do want to go into, a quick station break at the end. I'll be on the computer tonight. I'll be on all day tomorrow working. In the chat, if you're following the show and recording or starting over again, give me your comment. What's your favorite destination and where do you want to go and do you feel it's safe? I didn't say at the beginning, so just put a destination in, but that didn't get a response out of people. It wasn't specific enough, so my apologies. What's your favorite destination and do you feel safe going there? My favorite's Hawaii. I feel safe going there. I just can't get there. Not until October 15th, and I'll probably go sometime next year. I've gone every year the past 2 years and to all the islands. It's been wonderful. Mexico, I can go tomorrow. It's fine. But what's your favorite destination, and do you feel safe going there? And I'll let you know if you can get there and can get there safely. So again, the key things to remember, Disney parks, not all open, but Walt Disney World is. International parks are open, but can you get there? That's a different question. Disneyland should be open by mid-October in a phased reopening strategy. Park passes required. Disneyland is 80% pass holders, where Disney World is the exact opposite. It's more of a destination resort, maybe 20% pass holders go there. So don't even try to get in Disneyland for a while. The locals are going to eat up all the passes. And listen, they're overdue. It's been over 6 months. It's been a shame how long that's taken to reopen. It's not just them. It's all theme parks. I have not given any guidance by the governor of California, and I love California, and I love the governor there. I just don't know where the disconnect is. But we need communication, more communication from our leadership overall everywhere. And especially in the cruise industry, especially in the theme park industry, and especially when it comes to CDC about how do we get back to travel. And I think we're finally getting a break on some of that. As always, I'm your resource. Put in the chat a question. Message me directly if it's a more sensitive question. If you're, I'm available, David W. Hartman on Facebook. If you're on a page, you can message the page and I'll still get it. If you're watching on YouTube, message there. If you're listening on RadioA1A and Cruising Country Radio, thank you for listening today. When you get a break, go on to Harry's RadioA1A page or the YouTube feed tomorrow and leave a question and I'll answer it there. we're here as a resource. I do this show to be a resource. I try to make it entertaining, hence all my crazy destinations, hence my little tours of late. I like to have guests because guests are educational. And I've done a lot of supporting local businesses. And as things relax, I'm going to go to more crazy places because that's what I do. I'm working when I do it. And I love doing it. So stay tuned and see where Dave will broadcast from next. And that's right, I forgot to promote where I'm going next week. I'll do it now. So next week, since we're starting to wind down 5 minutes ago, we will be live from Cruisin' Tiki's Key Largo. That's right, live from Cruisin' Tiki's, a floating tiki bar. Check it out. Just Google Cruisin' Tiki's Key Largo. Dan Cornell and his wife own that operation. They have a franchise here in Key Largo from Snook's Restaurant, Malmar, 99 in the Bayside. Dan was on my show in mid-April. Check out that April episode, I believe on April 24th or so. And looking for the Recreation in the Keys episode. That was when we did Zoom. And that was one of our better produced shows using crazy Zoom technology. And Dan was a great guest. But this time we're going to see Dan in true colors. We'll be cruising on the Florida Bay and Cruisin' Tiki's Key Largo. Check it out, 5 p.m. next Sunday. It's going to be an absolutely wonderful show. And again, I'm here to help support Keys local businesses and promote them where I can. And Dan is not a sponsor of my show. I'm just doing this to help him out. And I really love what he does. And I was just on him with some friends, some high school friends last week, and we had a wonderful time, especially for us. I would highly recommend the Sunset Cruise. But check out Cruisin' Tiki's Key Largo and my show next week here on Facebook Live, Cruisin' Country Radio, RadioA1A, and the A1A Media Network at 5 p.m. on Sunday. Check us out. Some more shout outs, and you guys are a bit shy about questions today, but please tell me your favorite destination, and do you feel safe going there? And do you think you can get there? If not, I'll tell you. If I don't know a destination, I will research it. Jeff Quinn, thanks for being here. Don Warner, hey. Wayne Griffith, thanks for watching. And again, Janice Spivak, I had a question, a trivia question about Hawaii in the early part, and I have a $25 gift card from Fish House Encore. Thank you for sponsoring that, CJ and Doug, my clients and friends. And the restaurant is right here up in Key Largo, about a mile from my house, right on, actually less than that, I can walk there, right on Route 1. One of the best seafood restaurants in the Keys. 35 years old, did my broadcast there on June 15th. Check that out on my feed and RadioA1A YouTube network page. And they have just an amazing fresh seafood selection and actually a fish market inside the restaurant. Check it out. So I am going to close saying hello to some people and talk about my Atlas Ocean Voyages cruise. I've already promoted next week. And so remember, tell me your favorite destination. Do you think you can go there? And if I don't know the answer, I'll research it. As we're ending, I'll probably get to the comment afterwards. I'm always following comments. If you follow us on recording or rewind it, I'll be answering comments for the next week or so on this show. So thank you for being here, and I appreciate supporting. As always, like and share this, and like our pages. Fantastic endeavors. Friend me on David W. Hartman. You want to get closer to me on Facebook. And like my bucket wish trip, Dave's Hawaii page, Dave's Disney. And then Radio A1A and Cruisin' Country Radio and the A1A Media Network. Why so many pages? Because we have different interests and different followers. So check those out. In the last couple minutes before I close out the show, I do want to talk about Atlas Ocean Voyages, the Solar Eclipse Antarctic Cruise, November 28th, December 10th, 2021. This company is new. They have a new cruise line, the World Navigator, new cruise ship, World Navigator, launching next year in July, going from Malta. And they one ship bucket list itineraries all along the way. They end in South America in Ushuaia and sail round trip Ushuaia to Antarctica and the Shelter Islands. And after 6 stops on Antarctica with multiple landings per day via Zodiac and down jackets they give you with naturalists on board, scientists on board, we're going to see a total solar eclipse, 2 minutes of totality with scientists on board, professional photographers. They're going to stop the boat, stop the engines. They know exactly where to be. It's a time of year where there's no cloud cover in that region, and they've picked exactly where to be. A total eclipse, it only happens once every 400 years. Talk about bucket list trip. This is a bucket list trip destination. I need help on this cruise. I got a group. I got one family I'm about to book and want to take some more. I got a number of cabins. Discount rates, only my price. Go to bucketwishtrip.com and all the details are on that page, and message me directly. You need to book through me, David Hartman, owner, Fantastic Endeavors Travel Agency, 305-453-9208. Dave at bucketwishtrip.com, and bucketwishtrip.com, the website for more details on the cruise. But please, there's some promotions running. The free airfare is going to end soon. The business class upgrades with the suites are going to end soon. My group rate's going to be there, but I want you to get the full advantage of this. So I'm in the office this week, all this week, and I'll be on Cruisin' Tiki's next Sunday at 5 o'clock for my show. So check that one out. That's going to be a fun, just tropical, sit back and enjoy the beer show. You guys have been great. It's been a wonderful Sunday afternoon. Welcome to my backyard. This is my home office. Thank you for being here today. It's been a solo show. Thank you for your support as always. You guys have a great Sunday, and we will catch you next week from Cruisin' Tiki's at Key Largo, Sunday at 5 o'clock.
Come on, what are you waiting for? They're serving rum up, it's right next door. There's a party on the sandbar in the Keys. It's been a long